At stake as the 10-4 Calgary Stampeders invade Mosaic to clash with the 9-5 Saskatchewan Roughriders. What a tailor-made autumn day for football here in Regina. The temperature at 9 degrees and the wind won't be a factor.
Henry Burris leads the Canadian Football League in touchdown passes with 30 coming into this week of games, and he will hear it from the home crowd here at Mosaic Stadium. Of course, the former Saskatchewan Roughrider. And on the other sideline, Darian Durant leads the league in passing yardage and rushing yardage by a quarterback. I look to see him run the football often if given the opportunity.
There's Ken Miller, a must-win for his team today if the Saskatchewan Roughriders are to host their second consecutive Western final. John Huffnagel's Stampeders have lost 3 of 4 in 4 straight visits to Mosaic, but a win today gives them a 4-point lead and the tiebreaker. The customary atmosphere here at Mosaic. Everybody amped up for this one. Roughriders won the toss. They'll receive the opening kickoff, and the fans getting to their feet here. Ryan Grace Mullen is deep, along with Hugh Charles. And we're set to go. The rubber match in this regular season series. And it will be Grace Mullen. Grace Mullen gets away up across the 40. Good field position on the 29-yard return to set things up for Darian Durant and the Saskatchewan Roughrider offense.
Darian Durant told me yesterday he wants to get his running game involved, and that means more Wes Cates, the tailback in the starting lineup. There'll be no Chris Zarker at fullback, and there's Andy Fantuz. The last time these two teams played, Fantuz 255 yards receiving, and up front, maybe the best offensive lineman, and their nominee this year will be Jeremy O'Day at center.
Playing in his 200th game as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. At the 43, Saskatchewan goes to work. Fake to Cates, Weston Dressler, and he's bounced out. Big hit there by the corner, Dwight Anderson, and a flag on the field. Stampeders offside. Andre Proulx and his crew in charge today.
Offside. Calgary number 27. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Glenn, that's the corner, Brandon Browner, who was offside twice last week, and some might wonder how a corner can repeatedly go offside.
Yeah, because he's moving, though. He's not just playing that corner position. Brandon Browner has been moving around, covering receivers all over the field last couple of games.
1st and 5, and it is Cates straight ahead up to the 51-yard line. Corey Mace in that front four for the Stampeders with the tackle.
Yeah, there'll be different looks up front. You're going to see Miguel Robidet in the interior of that defensive line. Also, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, Kahari Long, outside at rush end. They'll move Robert McCune to middle linebacker. Juwan Simpson out of the lineup for the Calgary Stampeders in that linebacking core. And we mentioned Brandon Browner. He's going to move around, and that last play covered Andy Fantuz. Starting lineups brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona doing it right. 3 for Cates, 2nd and 2. And it's Wes Cates again. And Cates to midfield should have a first down. Brandon Browner in the last couple of games against Montreal was matched up on Jamel Richardson, and I asked the Calgary Stampeders, they're obviously reluctant to give away the game plan, but I was told that just watch the first couple of plays on defense, you'll know where Brandon Browner is, and we've seen him twice now lined up right on Andy Fantuz, who I mentioned, 255 the last time these two teams played. They're putting Browner on him today.
Roughriders with only 11 first possession points on the season. They have a first down near midfield. 6 receivers out. Quick hitter inside. wide and intended for Claremont. Busted up by Keon Raymond.
Good quick close there from Keon Raymond. He jumps that one in a hurry and does a nice job of not putting his left arm on the back of Jason Claremont on this slant, and therefore not drawing a penalty flag, because Claremont comes inside. Keon Raymond closes, and you can see he doesn't move that left arm to the back of Claremont's jersey until after contact is made.
Claremont, for the first time this year, made his mark in the Rough Rider offense against Calgary with 3 catches. He's had a 7-catch game since against Toronto. 2nd and 10, flags fly. Off the fingertips of Dressler. Incomplete.
I think the Calgary Stampeders jumped again here defensively, and whether or not an offensive lineman moved to draw them offside. Darian Durant on that play there used his cadence to try and draw the Calgary defense.
Offside. Calgary number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Defensive tackle Tom Johnson.
And mission accomplished for Darian Durant in that respect, because there is Tom Johnson, who lines up as a defensive end here. A little bit of movement as he rocks into the neutral zone.
That Calgary defense scorched for 513 net yards last week in Montreal. 2nd and 5. And Durant, the pass. See what forward progress they give Jason Claremont at the 47-yard line. He's going to be close to a 1st down.
Close enough that I believe they're going to measure this.
And the chains come out. And if they don't have it, looks like they're in range for Ken Miller to keep the offense on the field. So inches away from another 1st down, and Neil Hughes checks in.
And a good, strong running quarterback in Darian Durant. I mentioned off the top, he leads the league rushing yards by a quarterback and is finally healthy again. He had an ankle a couple of weeks ago that's been bothering him. Food poisoning early in the year, but when he rushes the football to break down a defense, now this will just be a quarterback sneak, but when he does rush, boy, it makes it tough to defend him.
No Chris Zarka today for the Rough Riders, out with a knee injury, and a good push behind the veteran center. Jeremy O'Day gives Saskatchewan another 1st down.
Yeah, when you talk about that O-line for Saskatchewan, Jeremy O'Day is the name that keeps coming up, possible nominee here for outstanding offensive lineman. He's had a tremendous season in his 14th, and you mentioned his 200th game as a Rider. Gene Makowski is often the nominee, but has moved around from guard to tackle due to injury.
Saskatchewan, Edmonton, the only 2 teams that do not have a 1st possession touchdown this season. Rough Riders with a 1st down at the Calgary 45. All the receivers to the one side, and they look back here to Cates, and it's wide open. Wes Cates down to the 25-yard line. Johnny Dixon forces him out.
Well, when you talk about getting Wes Cates involved, it not necessarily means handing the football off to him. He's just going to sneak out of the backfield here and come out into that screen, but it's sold well by Darian Durant. Watch how he half rolls to his left and then spins back blind, has to throw it over the defensive line, and there is all kinds of running space there for Wes Cates.
So a nice misdirection, and Cates gets 20. 1st down, Calgary 25. And the hinge inside for Dressler. That's off his fingertips. Into traffic. Kahari Long was in the neighborhood and might have been a distraction.
Chris Getzlaff throws a big block outside there just before there was a distraction and the ball on the ground, but he's allowed to make that block because the ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. In screens like this, if the ball's thrown behind the line, the receiver can block before the ball arrives, because contact by Getzlaff was made way before the ball arrived, and that ball went on the ground. But that's legal.
2nd and 10. Riders trying to keep it going. Time for Durant, looking in zone. Weston Dressler, touchdown.
Calgary Stampeders wanted to defend against big plays down the field in the passing game. Number one objective coming in after what happened the last time these two teams played here at Mosaic Stadium. And Darian Durant caps off a real nice drive, is putting it up over the top to Weston Dressler. And the way Dressler battles Keon Raymond at the top of the route is what wins it.
25 yards, Durant to Dressler. Darian Durant's 20th touchdown pass of the season, number 6 for Dressler. Kanji the extra point as the Roughriders do score their first possession major of the season. 8 plays, 67 yards, exactly 5 minutes into this first quarter. Weston Dressler breaks the ice.
Last week, just 6 catches for 51 against Toronto, but did have a big game against Calgary.
So now Calgary gets their hands on the football. Dion Murphy's got a return over the 45, out to the 48. So a 38-yard return for Dion Murphy.
Let's go back to the Weston Dressler touchdown. He's in here. Now the Calgary Stampeders are going to play a zone defense. It's basically called a cut defense with the halfback and Keon Raymond deep. Now as Dressler goes down the field, Keon Raymond is looking at the quarterback. He doesn't get enough depth here. He's got to be deeper than that and then break downhill towards Weston Dressler. He doesn't. Dressler runs in behind him and then battles him off at the top of the road. Just a great play, throw and catch to the right.
Cue the noise of Mosaic. Trouble and drops it. They'll throw the flag. Intentional grounding as Chunky Adams all over the quarterback, who says there's a receiver in the area, and Andre Proulx and company will sort it out.
Intentional grounding. Calgary number 1. Second down.
So they'll mark it inside the 30, a loss of 19.
Big push from Marcus Adams up front, but Henry Burris said that Joffrey Reynolds was close. He wasn't close enough, though. Burris in trouble. He's looking at about a 20-yard loss. He's going to take the penalty instead. Communication's going to be very difficult for Henry Burris in this game, obviously. You just cannot simulate this in practice. Burris is going to have to fight the crowd now.
What's in Calgary's playbook on 2nd and 28? And the ball caught by O.J. Franklin. And well, he gets to midfield. It'll be just short of the first down. 25-yard pickup on a shoot-top catch by R.J. Franklin.
Yeah, not a first down, but for John Hufnagel's offense, good yardage to get them out of that hole and the ability to possibly get a field position advantage. R.J. Franklin, the wide receiver, sitting on the numbers there, is going to be the check down guy to the outside. It's his own defense for Saskatchewan. He pulls that one right off the turf, makes one man miss. And now just shy of the first down, but does get valuable field position.
Burke Dales with the kick, and Ryan Grice-Mullen is swamped at the 13-yard line, a 44-yard boot. No return. Well, the decibel level obviously much different here at Mosaic when the Saskatchewan Roughriders have the football. And they'll start at their own 14-yard line. 67-yard touchdown drive featured 4 first downs. That's as many as Saskatchewan mustered in the entire second half last week in the loss against the Argos. Grant wants a big one, and he's got Getzlaff. Chris Getzlaff still going. Down the sidelines, only Bill pulls back. And Getzlaff taken out inside the 10.
Great pickup on the blitz. Darian Durant knows there's one coming from the outside that he can get blocked up, so he's got to get rid of the ball. And Getzlaff's going to get to that spot quickly. From here all the way through to the ball, Getzlaff has got to cross the face of the guy covering, who's Brandon Browner on this one, all the way across the field, the inside player, and then get to that sideline and miss and breaks the tackle.
It's the newcomer Johnny Dixon who gets torched for an 85-yard Getzlaff play, his longest of the season. They mark him out at the 11. Fake to Cates, and it's a touchdown.
Oh, boy.
Chris Getzlaf.
Saskatchewan Roughriders have moved Chris Getzlaf in the last 2 games against Toronto out to that wide receiver position. They're moving him back inside for this game against Calgary, and he's made back-to-back big plays in a more familiar position for Chris Getzlaf at slot back and not wide receiver. Play action here. Durant freezes Calgary Stampeders Justin Phillips. Enough time to get the football to Getzlaf.
2 plays, 96 yards. And a Rough Rider first quarter lead of 14. Find out how you can create your own plays at NissanArmchairHero.com.
And take a look at Chris Getzlaf here, who's the number 4 receiver on the inside. And he's going to cross the face of the deep player for the Calgary Stampeders. No safety help in the middle because the Calgary safety has vacated the middle. He crosses right over backside of the formation. Makes a man miss, goes right down that sideline. 2 big plays by Chris Getzlaf.
Dion Murphy. Another good return for Murphy, and then gets tripped up around the 40-yard line. Last time in, Calgary had a first quarter lead of 11 and lost. Saskatchewan with a big start here in the rubber match.
You know, Calgary in that game, the last game these 2 teams played, Getzlaf had just 1 catch in that one. All of a sudden, the favorite target.
It's already Chris Getzlaf's biggest game of the year with 96 yards and a touchdown. Started at 41, Joffrey Reynolds. And Reynolds using that power to get to the 45 and has 4.
And Joffrey Reynolds got to be more involved for the Calgary Stampeders. His last 4 games, the worst 4-game stretch for Joffrey Reynolds in his career. Henry Burris got to get some balance in this offense. If he wants to go to those first down marker and get some yak yards, it's Nick Lewis, number 82, just shy of 1,000 coming in. And there's Ben Archibald out on the edge, having to pick up those blitzes.
Second and 6. Burris quarterback drive, brought down. Brent Hawkins and Kitlana Jones stop Henry Burris short for the first down.
Real different look for Saskatchewan. They're going to put Baron Simpson up in the line to try and cover down. There's Simpson there. There's Brent Hawkins going to make the tackle. The way he does that is stepping up and then coming back inside. It ends up being 3-man pressure with Baron Simpson basically spying and taking on the double team in the middle so that his teammate Brent Hawkins can get there.
Brooke Dales. And Ryan Grace Mullen backpedals. Dancing around the 15-yard line. He'll get nailed there. Malik Jackson down in a hurry after a 50-yard Brookdale's punt. Andy Fantuz, 134 yards away from leading the league in receiving. Last Canadian to do that. Stampeder Dave Sapunjas back in 95 with more. Let's check in on the sidelines with Lee Jones.
Yeah, thanks, guys. He's having quite the season. If you remember, in his first 4 seasons, he never hit the 1,000-yard mark. Now he's on pace to hit the 1,500 mark in receiving yards, and he credits his chemistry with quarterback Darian Durant. They both came to the Riders in 2006, became friends on and off the field, and Durant points to Fantuz's football IQ as he always seems to find the right space at the right time, guys.
Well, Chris Getzlaf's been the favorite Canadian receiver so far. Now Rob Bagg, the intended target. And that's an incompletion.
Well, his last 4 games, Andy Fantuz has just been on fire. It really started with that Calgary game with 255 yards receiving, taking advantage of their man-to-man pressure defense. Look at his last 4 games, 538 yards in receptions. And when you start to see those kind of numbers, if he can continue the rest of the way, he's going to garner some votes for outstanding player nominee from this team.
2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. Wes Lysak on the blitz. Durant got it away, and Dressler can't bring it in. It's a 2 and out, and the Stamps needed that here in this opening quarter.
And if Andy Fantus is going to get that 100-yard game this afternoon, he's going to have to do it on the Calgary Stampeders' best cover man, because that's Brandon Browner, and that's been what the Calgary defense has done this entire game. Getzlaff has a big play, but it wasn't on Browner.
So Murphy awaits. Eddie Johnson stands just inside the Rough Rider goal line. Johnson's averaged over 50 in the last 2 weeks. Another good boot. And there will be a flag. Dion Murphy down the sidelines. And another marker. One will be for no yards. A second penalty flag also thrown.
Dion Murphy working on about a 6-yard average on those punt returns, but you get the feeling he's close. This one looks like they're going to bring it back.
Touched the ball 3 times in this game and has looked dangerous each time.
No yards. Saskatchewan, number 45, 15-yard penalty. Illegal block. Calgary, number 21, 10-yard penalty. The net difference up 5 yards. First down.
Mike McCullough, Joffrey Reynolds, the culprits. It's the handoff and a big first down for Cornish as he found a hole and sliced through down to the Rough Rider 44.
Defensively for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they talked all week about shoring up their run defense. That means Marcus Adams in the middle is going to have to play one of his best games on with Keith Sholigan, try and stop Main Street. And when you're talking Main Street, it's Baron Simpson in the middle. 88 tackles, #1 in the Canadian Football League, and changing the secondary. Tab Corngate plays for Chris McKenzie with Laurent Mitchell on the corner.
14 for Cornish, has 124 in 2 games against the Rough Riders. The initial first down, and there's Nick Lewis with a catch, and he'll get another Calgary first down as he ran through the tackle of Daniel Francis. That's the 100th career catch for Nick Lewis against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the team he plays the best against.
Yeah, he loves to play against Saskatchewan in the big games, and seeing some balance in the offense, little running play to John Cornish, and then that crossing route to Nick Lewis.
Approaching his 7th consecutive 1,000-yard season. Back in the hands of Cornish, and he's taken down quickly by Keith Sholigan, the Spruce Grove, Alberta native.
They talked about being better on defense against the run. Against Toronto last week, they gave up 192 yards rushing the Saskatchewan defense. And to be better on the run, you have to be better in the middle. That means Keith Sholigan, Marcus Adams, Baron Simpson. That triangle right there has got to be strong to make Calgary, if they're going to run, bounce to the outside and get Joffrey Reynolds shoulder pads facing the sideline, not going downfield.
Sholigan Adams to the sidelines, the pass defense on. As Calgary looks at 2nd and 8. Draw to Cornish, going to kick it outside, and does! First down, John Cornish inside the 20.
What a great move by John Cornish, who's in his rotation in that offense for Calgary Stampeders. I talked about bouncing it to the outside. Well, Saskatchewan gets that accomplished. The only problem with it is for the Riders is that now it's a one-on-one between John Cornish and Mike McCullough. And John Cornish going to make a miss in space right there with a nice little move where he jab steps inside and bounces it.
Cornish 2 carries, 26 yards. On this drive, first down. Fake to Reynolds, Burris takes off and then hits the deck at the 10-yard line. So Burris was 7.
Here's that zone read play Calgary does so well, or the ride and decide as some call it. There's Joffrey Reynolds. It's going to be the mesh point, and then Henry Burris around the outside, depending on what Luke Mullinger does here. If he goes into Reynolds, then Henry Burris takes it. That's what Mullinger did, and Burris is on the court.
Stamps are the #1 rushing team in the Canadian Football League. Saskatchewan, the #7 run defense. Second down and 4. Reynolds bounces it outside to the corner. Touchdown. Joffrey Reynolds.
Way to go. Very important series for the Calgary Stampeders. After 2 touchdowns for Saskatchewan to come back with an answer, and they do it along the ground. This is really breaking down the defense. Saskatchewan is getting these running backs for Calgary to the edge, but they're not containing them now, and both John Cornish or Joffrey Reynolds are able to bounce it, use their speed to get outside. This time Omar Morgan just gets caught underestimating the speed of Joffrey Reynolds.
Reynolds closing in on a 1,000-yard season, has his 6th touchdown on that 11-yard run. Extra point from Maver is good. And with 1:24 left in the first half, Calgary cuts Saskatchewan's lead in half.
And they did it with the run. This is an area that Saskatchewan has to shore up. Their last 4 games have been difficult against the run. They've had their challenges there. And we also talked about Joffrey Reynolds. Certainly needs to become more involved in the offense. A little bit of balance. It holds that pass rush off on second downs when there's a run threat beside Henry Burris. But that was really good speed to get to the corner from Reynolds. Big split here on the defensive line between Keith Sholigan and Marcus Adams. They're going to try to fake it into that gap and then bounce it. And Adams gets turned around a little bit there. A pretty good block. I believe it was Steve Middleton.
6-play drive, 57 yards.
And it got quiet in a hurry, didn't it?
They needed that response. Got the 2 and out. And then the touchdown drive to get back in this game. Maver boots it downfield, and this time it will be Hugh Charles from the 15. Charles trying to find the crease and had some good returns in this first quarter, up across the 35 for Hugh Charles.
That last series a great sign for the Calgary offense to get their running game going, and especially Joffrey Reynolds. When you look at his last 4 weeks, 128 yards total for Joffrey Reynolds. I mean, that's just his worst stretch of 4 games in his career, and it's not necessarily his fault when you look at the number of carries.
5 yards away from 1,000 on the season, and now back to work goes Darian Durant. 145 yards passing in this first quarter as Keats takes the handoff up to the 40. And 3 for Wes Cates, the former Stamp.
You know, Chris, in the games played so far in the CFL, about 45% of them have come down to the last 3 minutes. Kind of get the feeling that this will be one of them.
Well, big early leads have not stood up in this season series. And you'd expect nothing less than a battle for first in the West. Second down, open man. Weston Ruffler has the first. And he'll get shoved out by Dwight Anderson. At the Roughrider bench, it's a first down just beyond the Saskatchewan 50.
Well, if Brandon Brown is going to take Andy Fantus, that means the other corner, Dwight Anderson, plays off of Weston Dressler in that man-to-man matchup. Because remember, Dressler's an inside receiver. Anderson's a corner. So again, Calgary matching up their personnel on the Saskatchewan receivers, not really by position.
Darren Durant has got over 10,000 career yards here in this opening quarter. First down, play fake, and out of the backfield goes Jason Claremont. And another first down for the veteran Claremont, becoming a bigger part of this Saskatchewan offense. 16 yards on the final play of a good opening quarter. First quarter stats brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
Well, like the last time these two teams played, Saskatchewan made some big plays in the passing game. 8 first downs for Darian Durant. But that last series, Calgary got the run game going with John Cornish and Joffrey Reynolds. A good sign for their offense.
And a big weekend in the 100th anniversary celebrations for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, honoring their 3 Grey Cup teams, including one that won in '89.
Yeah, I remember vaguely that year, and Saskatchewan Roughriders with a real successful function on Friday night. There's the book written by Rob Vanstone about the Grey Cup in 1989, and of course the 3 Grey Cup teams will be up on the Plaza of Honor wall just outside of Mosaic Stadium. So there's 1966, 89, and of course the 2007 year, Ken Miller, part of the coaching staff that year.
Start the second quarter with the Roughriders a first down at the Calgary 41. And there's Keats plowing to the 35.
One thing that's helped to build the fan support for this football team is how the club continues to recognize its history. And that was what Friday night was all about. The Plaza of Honor dinner raised close to $300,000 for the ball club.
And in the rich history of this team, has there been a better rivalry developing than the one we have right now at the home. A big batted down pass on second down. Bill Collins on the blitz, knocked it down, and brings up third down.
Good play off the edge. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, Chris, about the rivalry between these two teams, how it's been amped up over the years, mostly because they're both been competitive teams in the West Division, often battling for playoff spots. A nice play by Milton Collins there. And I asked Ken Miller about that. He said, yeah, you know, it's starting to feel like every team we play is our biggest rival, although he does understand this one and feels like it's almost a compliment to his football team because they have been competitive. Teams want to come in here and beat them.
Luka Kanji surveying a 43-yarder, and it's blocked. That one blocked, and Johnny Dixon will hop on it. Calgary football with flags at the 31, and Kanji's been shaken up. Couple flags on the play. Luka Kanji in difficulty.
Was it Dwight Anderson who came off the edge?
No yards. Saskatchewan number 64, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So with the ball passing the line of scrimmage after the block, it's no yards and a 5-yard penalty, but a bigger concern here for the Riders. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by TELUS, proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League.
It was Dwight Anderson who blocked that field goal attempt by Luka Kanji and carried through as he dove through the air into Kanji's leg. He's coming right off the edge from the left side of the formation and really shortens the corner. He gets around that corner clean and then just dives across, and as he does, takes the leg of Kanji. Now he hits the football, he's in the air, he can't control where he ends up. And you can see that's going to be a serious one for Luka Kanji.
No weight on the right leg as Kanji makes his way to the sidelines. And Eddie Johnson will have to handle both duties. Second week in a row that the Roughriders have had a field goal blocked. Last week it was Ricky Foley. Joffrey Reynolds straight ahead into the secondary. Over 1,000 and across midfield into Saskatchewan territory.
Yeah, the two things that came back last week to haunt Saskatchewan in Toronto, special teams were one of them, and run defense the other. And again, watch the opening for Joffrey Reynolds, and the only back in the backfield there. He's got Rob Cote up at the line of scrimmage. See a nice slide protection there as Ben Archibald just slides down from that left tackle, opens up a nice hole for his running back.
First down to the Saskatchewan 51, and on the sweep, Kenyon Rambo with a short gain, and a late flag is tossed. Rambo up without a helmet.
Tough week last week for Kenyon Rambo. Just one catch against Montreal. Was frustrated, got in a fight at the end of that game, was tossed, and
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan number 2. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. First down.
Penalty on the Minister of Defense, Baron Simpson.
I was going to say, and a good sign for Calgary fans is that Kenyon Rambo did not react to what Baron Simpson did. He comes across Baron Simpson a little too much as he gets to that point of attack here. Watch number 2 just rip the helmet off of Kenyon Rambo, but Rambo doesn't respond.
Stamps are responding. First down at the 33. Here's Reynolds, and this time not going anywhere. Marcus Adams is there. Baron Simpson as well.
And the play made possibly by Daniel Francis on the outside to turn it into Baron Simpson. The CFL's leading tackler needs some help to try and close down the edge, and that's where the outside linebackers like Daniel Francis come in. He's got to step up and turn that running back inside to his middle linebacker in Simpson.
Second and 8 at the Roughrider 31. Here comes pressure. Burris gets away, pumps, and now is dumped. Henry Burris finally dropped by Kitwana Jones when it looked like he'd escaped.
Daniel Francis was the first guy that Henry Burris makes miss as he pump fakes and just shakes Francis coming around the corner. He's out of your screen now, but he'll be there in a second. Here he comes. Jarrell Freeman shortens the corner for him, but he dives, leaves his feet. Henry Burris makes him miss, and then Kitwana Jones trips him up.
So Rob Maver will come on to attempt a 39-yard field goal. He has made 8 of his last 9, but none from beyond 31. Splits the uprights here as Maver back on his game, and the lead is 4 for Saskatchewan. And 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific. And the Lions' adventure continues.
Wow. Congratulations to the Eskimos. They're right in that battle for the last playoff spot in the West.
Rob Maver boots it, and it'll be Grace Mullen on the return. And Ryan Grace Mullen to the 35 as we check back in with Lee Jones.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Clearly, Luca Conti was in a lot of pain as he went to the dressing room. All they are telling us right now, it is a right knee injury. They won't say how serious it is, but he is gone for the game. So the early plan right now is to have Eddie Johnson, the punter of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, kick field goals and converts when needed.
So a costly injury for the Roughriders here in the first half. But Johnson, a guy who has handled both duties in the past. 4 receivers wide side. And Durant looking to that far side for Dressler. Dwight Anderson's in his hip pocket.
Weston Dressler, the only receiver in the CFL coming into this week with 500-yard receiving games. There's a few tied with 4. And he's going to get a whole lot of Dwight Anderson. Dwight Anderson, the corner, is coming inside, and there is Weston Dressler's going to try and run that corner route. Dwight Anderson on Dressler. Brandon Browner on Fantus.
Hugh Charles into the Roughriders offense. 2nd and 10. Pressure from Tom Johnson. Now Durant. And that one is intercepted. Intended for Chris Getzlaff. And it is Johnny Dixon, the newcomer, the extra DB. And are they going to rule this an interception or incomplete, as the officials now will confer?
Number 1, did he catch it? Number 2, was it deflected? I thought that was touched at after it left the hand of Darian Durant. I believe it was Malik Jackson who was rolling to that side. He just gets his right hand on it here. It changes direction
Ruling
a little
on the
bit.
field is an incomplete pass. Will be 3rd down.
So ruled as an incompletion, likely to be challenged by the Stampeders.
Let's take a look. There's the tip. He's made the catch there. Now, did he, as he's going down, does he put the football on the turf? You can't really tell because Chris Getzlaf blocks that camera angle.
Challenge flag has been tossed by John Hufnagel.
Johnny Dixon in for Brandon Isaac. That extra defensive back. He makes a nice catch early. This angle may give us a better picture.
Calgary is challenging the ruling in the field of an incomplete pass. The play will be reviewed.
And did it pop loose right there? Hard to tell.
Well, the rule is basically that for Dixon here, he can't use the football against the ground to help him secure the catch. He's got to survive that contact with the ground. Now, is the tip of the football touching the turf? Because if it is, then the ruling's correct. Incomplete. If it wasn't and it was his hand underneath the football, then that's an interception.
So is it third down or first down Calgary? Johnny Dixon in his second game as the extra defensive back for the Stampeders. Darian Durant 2 for his last 7 after a hot start.
And Malik Jackson, I think Darian Durant was trying to lead Chris Getzlaf into the middle, and when Jackson tipped it there, it forced it outside.
Review, the ruling on the field stands. It was an incomplete pass. Will be third down.
So Dixon unhappy with it. Ruled a trap. And so Eddie Johnson will kick it away on third down. Murphy awaits at the Calgary 25. Johnson just got that away. And a flag flies as Hugh Charles was within the 5-yard restraining area. 40-yard kick, 13 on the return. Should be a 15-yard penalty against Saskatchewan. And more than a couple of flags on the turf. So we'll sort the penalties out when we come back. Just over 10 minutes left, first half at Mosaic. Blocked by Ryan Thelwell. So it's Calgary football. First down Stamps at their own 25. Quick hitter, Robbie Bryant's first catch of the day. And he is brought down at the 32.
Last week, the Stampeders had 12 penalties for 101 yards. It was an issue for Calgary and a loss to the Montreal Alouettes. There's Ryan Thelwell. He's pushing Hugh Charles into the nose-yard zone. That's why those flags were picked up. It's also an illegal block that moves Calgary back to the field position they're in now. So Calgary having some penalty issues again, like they did last week. Saskatchewan, some special teams issues again.
Jabari Arthur checks in for John Hufnagel's offense. It's 2nd and 2 at the 33. Double tight end, and the fake to Reynolds on a roll. Here's Burris, first down and more. Up over the 45-yard line for Henry Burris.
Look back to last week for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I mentioned those special teams and the problems they had. Now, this wasn't an issue for Saskatchewan because I think that would have fooled anybody. A fake safety, but they had a punt block by Ricky Foley, a field goal, and then a direct snap. Basically the same quarter. Michael O'Shea taking advantage of some miscues against Saskatchewan special teams, and special teams an issue again in this one early.
And it has been under the microscope all year long in Saskatchewan. First down, Joffrey Reynolds, and Brett Hawkins mows him down at the 50. 6 consecutive 1,000-yard season for Joffrey Reynolds.
Well, one more and he will tie Kelvin Anderson, and Joffrey Reynolds, of course, holding most of the Stampeder records now, but now has 6, one more 1,000-yard year. Kelvin Anderson, he matches that total at 7.
3,100-yard games in his career, 8 of them against Saskatchewan. Early movement. And flags fly again.
Illegal procedure. Calgary, number 67, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Right guard Dimitri Sumpas jumped the gun. John Hufnagel addressed his troops this week. Said recent play unacceptable. There's been some cracks in the foundation. Off to a shaky start this game, but bouncing back, and that pass incomplete, intended for Rambo on the crosser.
You know, and I think the foundation that John Hufnagel was talking about this week were those discipline issues, those penalty issues, whether it be a offensive lineman jumping offside, an illegal block in the teams that gives you poor field position, and just guys finishing off plays. I mean, this is a football team that went through quite a run in the middle of the season, but have won just one of their last 4.
So Dale's to kick, and we saw Grace Mullen back. And from his 11, Grace Mullen up across the 20-yard line. Well, football action continues tonight on TSN as we bring you NFL Sunday Night Football. Manning and the Colts take on McNabb and the Redskins. Live coverage begins immediately following this broadcast. Well, he was quick out of the gate tonight. Touchdowns on his first 2 possessions, 145 yards after 2 possessions for Darian Durant.
Well, his receiving core won the first couple of series, and then they've lost the last couple. Good coverage by Dwight Anderson and Browner on those 2 key receivers.
And a 14-point lead is now 10, or 4 points at 14-10. Nice fake, and Durant complete. Getzlaff another catch and a first down in front of Johnny Dixon. And Chris Getzlaff over 100 yards in a game for the first time this season.
Getzlaff is going to get busy, I believe, this afternoon and into this second half. And the reason being that, again, Browner taking that number 1 target, Andy Fantu's out. He's in perfect position here on the inside hip. Fantu's just not shaking him at this point. So Darian Durant going to a different receiver. In this case, it's Chris Getzlaff.
Getzlaff with 11 career touchdowns, 7, including the one in the first quarter against Calgary. Here's Wes Cates. Good run by Cates. Up to the 44, close to another first down. Again, it's Dixon with McCune on the tackle.
Yesterday I asked Darian Durant about Wes Cates and why they have gone away from him over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Said we just have to stick with it no matter what the situation in the game. We've got to just remind ourselves that he's an important part of it. And they should test Robert McCune at middle linebacker. I mean, that's really his natural position back there. But first time starting there this season.
Cates without a 100-yard game since mid-July has the first down. And it's brought down at the 46-yard line by the run stopper, Tom Johnson.
So they, on one side, want to get Wes Cates involved, which they have. You see back-to-back plays, and also contest out the new middle linebacker for Calgary for this game. Juwan Simpson, as I mentioned, not available due to injury. Robert McCune, who's played rush end, plays in the middle. Now, that's his natural position. He played behind Ray Lewis with Baltimore. He can play there, but they should test him. Huge wider field.
Huge void with Simpson, the leading tackler on the team, with 58. And Claremont taking a jolt from behind from Keon Raymond on that pass.
Well, with a play like this on the play action, Darian Durant wants to try and freeze the Calgary defenders for a split second, and he didn't get that freeze. Watch the play action here, and off the edge, Malik Jackson's coming quickly. And he comes from the right as well. It's Jackson from the right and Collins from the left. But they aren't influenced at all by that play action fake.
So it's 2nd and 10. Justin Phillips at defensive end for Mike Lapinjo out the rest of the year for Calgary. More pressure from Browner, and it's defensive team meeting on the quarterback. As they get to Darian Durant, Tom Johnson, it looks like we'll get credit for the sack. And Rob Bagg shaken up as well as he grabs his right knee.
Brandon Browner comes off the edge on the blitz. Wes Cates can't get to him in time, right down at the bottom. And Cates is going to try and come over and see if he can get to him, but you'll see that he misses him, and I'm not sure what happened to Rob Bagg. That's what forces Darian Durant up into the hands of his teammates, or excuse me, the Calgary teammates, and let's see what happened to Rob Bagg. He's right in the left of your screen, just working off Andy Fant, who's there. It looked like his knee just buckled on him.
Rob Bagg in the top 20 of CFL receivers. Just under 700 yards on the season, part of this Canadian Air Force that may be the best Canadian receiving corps in the history of the league. Andy Fantu's leading it. Last year they broke through 2,500 plus yards and even more already this season.
Jason Claremont becoming more involved over the last 2-3 games, and of course we've talked about Chris Getzlaff being the primary target this afternoon for Darian Durant.
And these are the totals prior to the game. Getzlaff over 100. Fantu's without a catch so far on the day. But at this pace, well over 3,000 yards from this receiving corps, and the honorary Canadian Weston Dressler out of North Dakota. But first Kanji and now Rob Bagg as the injuries mount for Saskatchewan.
And he's not putting very little weight on that right knee.
So a couple of knee injuries to be concerned with in this opening half for Ken Miller. So it's third down and a punting situation for the Roughriders with under 4.5 minutes remaining here in the opening half.
And a chance for Calgary to grab some momentum here. They get the football back. If Henry Burris can handle this crowd noise and try and get an offensive drive together, that running game involved, chance for Calgary to grab some momentum in this game.
Murphy trying to set the table here with a good return. Kick by Johnson. Murphy at his 20. Cuts back, and now bubbles way back. And finally brought down by Kipwada Jones back at the 15. Well, that'll ignite the crowd. A 53-yard punt by Eddie Johnson. Loss of 4 in the return, and John Hufnagel admits this crowd has to be contended with here at Mosaic.
Oh, the noise. I mean, there's no other experience in the Canadian Football League for an offense to contend with. So, I mean, you can fabricate all the noise in practice as you want, but it's just not the same. And, you know, you're not getting penalized in practice as you do in a game of football. So that's number one. And communication's so hard, you know, between the quarterback and his players. It just makes it difficult.
Well, there they are. They were amped up by the quick start for their team today, opening up an early 14-0 lead, but the Stampeders and some Saskatchewan injuries have quelled the crowd, and now it's Sean Lucas, the all-star will linebacker, who is slow to get up.
Ken Miller is going to have to really do some juggling at halftime, and this is a big one for his defense. Sean Lucas may be the most consistent defender on Saskatchewan's defense. You know, we don't talk about him probably enough. I mean, this is a guy who back-to-back years had over 80 tackles in this defense. 81 in 09 and 95 in 08. On pace for over 70 this year. No matter where they ask Sean Lucas to play, he plays as consistent as you can get for a football player. And Ken Miller told me yesterday, he said, you know, I love consistent. I love a solid guy like Sean Lucas. And he agreed with me that maybe we don't give him enough credit what he's done on this defense. So hopefully for the Riders and their fans that he can shake this off and get back in there.
Well, speaking of versatility, we've got Tad Cornegay, who has the ability to play Sam linebacker, will linebacker, corner, inside half, safety if needed, and he'll likely now move from corner into the spot vacated by the injury to Sean Lucas, and Willie Bird, a newcomer, is now out on the corner. Nice to have Cornegay can play anywhere, probably except defensive tackle. Pressure off the edge, and Robbie Bryant with the catch as he gets the foot down and falls out at the 22-yard line, a 6-yard gain.
Yeah, and they are going to put Omar Morgan in at halfback, so lots of juggling already. Cornegay can handle it. Can the rest of the secondary? Pressure coming from both the outside edges on Henry Burris, but you got to think he's going to go out there and try and test Willie Bird. And Omar Morgan in at halfback now.
Second and 4. John Cornish, and he's met by Barron Simpson. Well short of the first down. Tied for the league lead, and tackles coming in. Barron Simpson shut the door.
You know, he just turned 33 years old, and Barron Simpson may be having one of his best seasons. He leads the league in tackles. We mentioned that. Middle linebacker, really responsible for run defense from tackle to tackle in this Saskatchewan system. He steps in the hole and is right there to stop John Cornish. Had a sack last week, and in the 2 games against the Calgary Stampeders, 11 tackles.
The Roughriders looking for better field position here. Brooke Dales unloads a good kick. Here's Grace Bullen trying to get outside. The corner. Jolted out at the Calgary bench at the Stampeder 45. They give the 3-minute warning here. First half at Mosaic. Here in this opening half for the Roughriders.
Saskatchewan will put Obed Satut, the former Toronto Argonaut, in for Rob Bagg at wide receiver.
Plenty of Canadian depth at that receiver position. Good run on first down up to midfield. Hugh Charles with the carry. But this game has turned for Darian Durant.
Football is about 12 one-on-one battles, and if you win enough of the 12, then you win the war. And in the first part of this game, Darian Durant's receivers were winning those battles, and they were making plays in the passing game. Since then, Dwight Anderson, Brandon Browner, first and foremost, have turned their coverage skills up a notch. And it's been tougher goal for Riders.
Neil Hughes in a tight end on second and short, and there's Charles with the first down into Calgary territory.
Now, the other thing that's happened is Saskatchewan has gone to more of a controlled running game now. They're trying to get Wes Cates, as Darian Durant told me yesterday they would do, and Hugh Charles involved. Doug Barry understands the balance, as does the other sideline in Calgary Stampeders with Joffrey Reynolds. And they're going to that in this second quarter.
I got 21.
Two-back offense now with Charles and Hughes flanking Durant, who goes back to pass. And over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Chris Getzlaff. Keon Raymond right there.
He's still, and I'm talking about Darian Durant having difficulties getting it to Andy Fantus. It looked like he wanted to go down the seams here to Fantus. Brandon Browner in this matchup inside. Remember, Browner's a natural corner, trying to run the corner route. Brandon Browner in good position. That's a size matchup that works for Calgary with Fantus at 6'4", 220, and Browner 6'3", 214.
And Two's looking for his first catch of the day. 2nd and 10. 3-man Calgary rush. Durant dumps it off. Claremont takes some heavy hits, and he'll be short of the first down.
First of all, Durant did take his time to hope that someone developed and opened up down the field. Durant knew he had 3-man pressure, so he would have some more time in the pocket. But dumping it off to Jason Claremont there was his only option. Everyone else covered, and it'll be short.
Luke Akanji out of the game, so no consideration here for a 51-yard field goal attempt. And R.J. Franklin joins Dion Murphy deep. Clock running. Johnson looking for the corner. And it bounces right onto the pylon.
That's big in a minute 25. Now Henry Burris has got to get at least one first down here.
So 2 weeks in a row, Eddie Johnson inside the 1. How about that bounce? The perfect punt.
That's a tap in for Birdie. Important first down necessary here for Calgary.
85 seconds left for the timeout for the Roughriders to use if they choose. From his end zone, Reynolds gets out, but not much more.
Omar Morgan has gone back to that short side corner.
Sean Lucas has gone back into the game.
And he's back in the game. So if Henry Burris is going to try and get that matchup with Willie Bird on that corner, he can't now. He's got Omar Morgan back there with Lucas back in the game. So now it's back to the close to that regular secondary for the Riders.
Only 6 passing attempts by Burris in his first half. 2nd and 9. Just no, they didn't get the play off. Time count violation against Calgary.
There is no infraction on the play. Calgary at call timeout just prior.
Quick one by John Hufnagel.
Timer, please reset the clock to read 1:02.
And it's a good thing because that would have been a loss of down. Now the Stampeders will still look at 2nd and 9. Well, you made it quite clear that Calgary wanted to establish a running game today. Did you think we'd be 29 minutes into the game and they have passed the ball just 6 times?
I've got to believe that's an all-time low for Henry Burris in attempts in a half.
One would expect number 7's on its way. Nope, he's going to put it back draw. Just get back to the line. It'll be 3rd down. Brent Hawkins has had a good first half for the Roughriders.
Yes, he's had a couple of plays like that where he's gone up the field and then cut underneath on Burris on the quarterback draw.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
Roughriders do stop the clock with 57 seconds left in the half.
Got to believe Dave Dickinson, who's calling the plays for Calgary, thought that Saskatchewan would go with 3-man pressure there and try and cover down all the receivers for the Stampeders. He didn't get that defense, and Brent Hawkins rallies.
Now do you unleash Burke Dales, or do you give up 2 and then kick it off in the final minute?
Burke Dale's almost, well, 10 yards. He is full 10 yards deep in the end zone. Unless he absolutely pounds this, the Riders should be in field goal position when they catch the punt.
Leads the league in punting. And he's going to give up 2, and that knee does go down. No Statue of Liberty there.
Well, 3 Saskatchewan Roughriders there to make sure that he either puts the knee down or kicks it, one or the other. But I think if you're John Hufnagel, that's the play you've got to make. You're giving up 2. If Dales punts it from 10 yards deep, you're looking at Grice Mullen catching the football in field goal range if he doesn't go another inch. So you're giving up 3. Now Calgary and Hufnagel is hoping his defense can stop Saskatchewan here.
But that punt by Eddie Johnson gives Saskatchewan now a chance to have a 2-score lead at the half. It's now 6, but the offense will get the ball on the kickoff. And we wonder about Eddie Johnson's range and accuracy as a place kicker, called upon here with the injury to Luka Kanji here in the first half. And producer John Hodge makes a very good point. The holder is Rob Bagg, and he's out.
Puts a little more pressure on Ken Miller in this offense, and do they decide to go for it on third down situations depending on where they are on the field in this second half? With their kicking situation, a bit of a scramble right now.
Maver sends it downfield, and Hugh Charles with return up to the 47-yard line. So Darian Durant has 47 seconds remaining here in the first half. Good field position and looking to extend a 6-point lead.
Well, that Hugh Charles return was big because you're looking at, as a kicking team for the Calgary Stampeders, trying to hold them inside the 35 and make it that much tougher on Darian Durant. Now that Charles return, some close to that 50-yard stripe, a couple of throws, and Darian Durant could find field goal range. But again, the Saskatchewan kicking situation right now.
We're told Andy Van Toos was practicing as a holder on the sidelines the last break. Weston Dressler a catch, shoved up by Dwight Anderson, just short of midfield. 43 seconds to go. And it's 2nd and 3.
That last matchup between these two teams, Darian Durant 500 yards passing in that one.
Ready?
Take the case. Dressler all alone. And he's bumped out at the Calgary 40. First down for Saskatchewan. Brandon Smith knocking Dressler.
Now, in normal situations here, I would think that Ken Miller would probably try and go maybe a little more conservative, run the football here. He's got about 3 or 4 plays before field goal thought. And a good play action there by Durant to get him around the edge here. But with his kicking situation, does he stay? It looks like they're going to stay in shotgun and throw the football.
36 seconds to go. Straight ahead, Wes Cates down to the 34-yard line. So if they were to kick now, Eddie Johnson be looking at a 41-yarder.
And it was Eddie Johnson that has set up this situation with a great punt down to the 1-yard line.
2nd and 4. And a direct snap for Cates. Big first down. Well, they used that play for a touchdown in the last play against the last meeting against the Calgary Stampeders.
Direct snap to the tailback. That last time it was Hugh Charles. This time it's Cates who's going to take this snap. And a fake by Durant, like he has the ball and is rolling out to his right. Calgary not quite as fooled as they were the last game.
First down. Durant in trouble, ducked away from Justin Phillips, just throws it away. He'll reload on 2nd and 10 with 7 seconds left, or is it time to send out Eddie Johnson?
Yeah, I think it is, and you can on 2nd down when you attempt the field goal. If you have a trouble with the snap, if you fumble it and you still have time in the clock, you could line up in 3rd down and do it again.
So it'll be a 35-yard attempt.
Protection up front, that much more important. Remember, Dwight Anderson blocked a field goal early.
And it is Andy Fantus to hold. There's a jump. Johnson will put it through. And no flag. So Eddie Johnson nails it with Andy Fantus putting it on the spot.
Chris, Eddie Johnson's field goal, not just that he made it, but the way he made it has got to give Ken Miller some confidence here in this second half. That he can go ahead and just play his regular strategy when it comes to whether or not he should kick a field goal, because he nailed that. He pounded that field goal. It was a good hold by Andy Fantus, the backup holder for Rob Bagg. And all of that has got to give Ken Miller lots of confidence. Look at Andy Fantus, gloves on, ball down, laces away. And well hit by Eddie Johnson.
And I've been told the hold is most important.
Yeah, we can explain that again. I'll go into it. But it's about getting the lace away, your hands out of the way, and also the ball in the right slant, right tilt that the kicker wants. And it looked like they've been doing it all season long. That was smooth.
No Paul McCallum last night for a different reason. Sean White comes in and kicked a big one. And Eddie Johnson here has given Saskatchewan a 9-point lead with 3 seconds left in the first half.
Most coaches and teams in the CFL love it when they can have one kicker do 2 jobs. But this is the one advantage you have when you have 2 kickers. When one does get hurt, if that happens, you have the other one to come in and back up.
Likely a squib kick it is here. And here comes the quick kick by Randy Chevrier, alertly downfield. And the Roughriders run it and will eat the football to end the opening half of football. Eddie Johnson downing it, and it's 19-10 Roughriders at the half.
Welcome back inside. Dave and Jock and Milt and Schultze. It is 19-10 Saskatchewan after the 35-yard field goal by Eddie Johnson. His first field goal of the season, his first since the season opener of last year when he was with the Argos. He only kicked 1, but he adds a key 3 points. They also get the safety somewhat, I don't know, controversial, or you weren't expecting it, right?
Well, no, the ugliest play in football is when the punter runs around the end zone. But the only time you do it is when you got
kill the clock.
Ticking off the clock at the end of a half.
Yeah, therefore they get the extra field goal, and the Saskatchewan has a 9-point lead. Schultze certainly didn't help or hurt. They got that quick start, 2 quick touchdowns. They were the last team in the league to score a touchdown in their opening possession.
The best fans in the Canadian Football League reside in Regina, Saskatchewan, and if you know that, and as an organization, you got to pass that on to your players and say, guys, it's a distinct advantage to do something exciting early to get our fans excited. I was so impressed with Darian Durant. Early throws in the game, intermediate, shallow, and also the deep ball. Here, nice little screen, but notice West Cates reaches, but in one stride, he's heading right upfield with his shoulders. Once again, Durant, this throw down the sidelines here, right in stride to the receiver, so all he has to do is make a little transition. Milt, you've talked about this before. The big plays kill Calgary.
It's been well noted. All year long, they've been giving up the big plays. They've been great defensively, but the big plays have been their Achilles heel.
And once again, just a quick turn by Zarka. He gets it in his hands. If Darian Durant can come out in this third quarter, once again, throw that football with accuracy, they got a great chance of winning this game.
And I think they shored up a couple of things. You look at what they did in the first quarter. They gave up some big plays in the last week against Montreal, 400 yards. A few weeks ago against Saskatchewan, 500 yards. I think Chris Jones decided, I need to make this a chess match and a lot of checker match. He shored up some things in the second quarter, and I think they're looking pretty good right now, Jock.
Well, Milt, you talk about giving up the big plays. The reason why Calgary does give up plays, just like Montreal gives up lots of big plays, because they play so much man-to-man tight defense. It's why they shut a lot of teams down, but you also got to pay the price because it's all about risk-reward. Now, Saskatchewan, to their end, they are well-suited to going up against a defense like that because of their waggle. You look at Dressler's touchdown early in the game. Look how they attack the line of scrimmage. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are better at this than anybody else in the league-wide. Everybody isn't duplicating them. I don't know. But you know what? You talk about shoring things up. One of the things they're trying to do here is get used to that waggle and cover better man-to-man. And here you see them a little cross to a post with a corner underneath it, and Anderson is with Dressler stride for stride. So the thing that happened in the second quarter was better man-to-man defense. The second thing that happened in the second quarter was pressure. Pressure on Durant will make all the difference. This is what got the Calgary Stampeders defense the reputation for being the top defense in the league. pressure on the quarterbacks, great man-to-man defense. We're now seeing more of that in the second half.
And you know what else we're seeing? We're seeing a lot of key injuries. In the last 24 hours, there were several big-time injuries last night in the BC Edmonton game. Davis Sanchez, J.R. LaRose, Kelly Campbell, and
hate to see it.
Who's the other one for Edmonton? Kamal Peterson. And now Rob Bagg and Luca Conji. That one does not look good at all. But right now it is a 9-point lead for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Joffrey Reynolds becomes the 4th running back this season to go over 1,000 yards. He's got the lone touchdown for the Stamps. Welcome back. Here are your halftime numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL. Schultz.
I love the fact that Saskatchewan is dominating the passing. The running is being dominated by Calgary, but both teams have played a clean football game. Next mistake, that team is going to lose this football game.
Not much going on through the air for the Sams for sure. Here's Ken Miller, head coach of the Riders, speaking to Lee Jones.
Ken, I guess what's your philosophy on the kicking game now? You lost Conji and you lost your holder Bag, but Eddie Johnson made a 35-yarder. Is your confidence still there?
Well, certainly it is. That kick was very accurate, very strong. Andy Fantus did a great job of holding. Protection was really good.
You got off to a quick 14-point lead. What do you have to get back to after they were able to get themselves back in this ball game?
Well, it's a matter of continue to run the football and then mix in the passing game, make sure we're doing a great job in our protections.
All right, thanks for this.
Thanks so much, Lee.
You know, we were talking about the injuries, and while I got just a moment here, I want to tell you that Eskimos receiver Jason Barnes has been released from a Hamilton hospital, cleared to fly home to Edmonton, which is great news. No surgery required on his ruptured spleen. Still a long rehab process involved there, boys, but good news for Jason. Here's Brian Mudrick with a Sports Center update. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Dave. You know, Paul LaPolice is a guy with lots on his mind right now. Him and his wife basically are expecting a baby any second at this point. His Winnipeg Blue Bombers battling for a playoff spot. Meantime, they're facing Montreal, and this is a team that could clinch their 3rd straight East Division title. 11-5 Bombers in the second. Anthony Calvillo finds Jamel Richardson. It was 12-11 Montreal at the half. Third quarter, Ben Cahoon. There's his first TD of the season. Al's up 19-11 to the fourth quarter. And then a little bit of ugliness. Alex Suber takes a swing at Chip Cox. A lot of testosterone right there. 22-19 late in the fourth. Stephen Giles to Jeffress Harris, but Cox strips that ball and recovers it in bounds as the Owls, they clinch the East yet again as they seem.
9 points, Saskatchewan lead as we head to the second half at Mosaic in this critical battle for first in the West. But first, Lee Jones and Calgary coach John Hufnagel.
Coach, first off, how happy are you with the play of Brandon Browner, who's been able to stop Andy Fantus in the first half?
Well, I mean, he's playing good football. You know, our defense had a tough time at starting out, but they've tightened things up. So far, it's been a game of momentum change. They had momentum early on. We fought back with 10 points, and then that field position at the end of that second quarter cost us 5 points.
What do you need to see from more of your offense that you want to see to get going in the second
We need
half?
to stay on the field. We're trying to establish a running game, obviously, but we need to get first down, stay on the field, and put the ball in the end zone.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Well, both teams were establishing their running game. Henry Burris went to Joffrey Reynolds. He didn't even attempt a lot of passes in that first half. You know that the balance will start to go back to that sort of 60-40, which most teams are, where pass run, 60% pass, 40% run. Joffrey Reynolds more involved in the offense in the first half, as was Wes Cates.
Now, it's not unusual for a kicker to come out at half and work on his game, and no surprise Eddie Johnson would do that, but the long snapper Jocelyn Fournette and Andy Fantus also out to make sure that they are ready to be, if called upon in the second half after nailing that late first half field goal to give the Roughriders a 9-point lead. Here we go. Calgary gets the ball first in the second half. Murphy from inside is 10. And he won't reach the 30-yard line. Corey Hucklock there to greet him.
Mentioned very few attempts for Henry Burris in the first half, and when I said very few, how about that? I mean, 6 attempts. He completed 4 of them for 51 yards for Burris, 11 of 21. A lot of those 216 yards for Durant in the first couple of series of this game. And as Jock Climbing mentioned at halftime, the Calgary defense doing a lot better job in one-on-one coverage as the half went on.
Short drop. Dumps it off. And here's Reynolds breaking one tackle, and up to the 39-yard line. He'll have a gain of 9. And we're going to give you a taste of what the difference is between the crowd noise for each offense.
And Calgary has the ball. That's when Saskatchewan has the ball. You can hear the clap. You can hear Darian Durant call out the snap kings.
Mosaic becomes an opera house when they're on offense. And I'm not sure what kind of house. When Calgary's got the football, the Stamps already having to use their second half timeout on a 2nd and 1 play here early because of a personnel problem.
Is that the Phantom of the Opera? Yeah, they had to get the right personnel on the field. Drew Tate comes in short yardage.
Randy Chevrier, part of the jumbo team. So it is 2nd and a yard, and Tate slides across. And maybe it's pushed back. Looks like his forward progress was the 40 before Barron Simpson tosses him back.
Went over the right side of that offensive line. Drew Tate followed in behind Edwin Harrison. And he did not get up after.
He had an elbow problem this week that left his status in question. And the right tackle, who's had a good first year in the Canadian Football League, in difficulty here.
Boy, is he ever. You know, there was a concern for a lot of people I know, maybe not so much John Hufnagel, who I think knew what he had in guys like Edwin Harrison. But a lot of people thought that with the changes in the O-line for Calgary, that would be an area of real challenge for this team.
Yeah, this could be a real problem for John Hufnagel. He may have to make more than one change on that offensive line. We'll sort it out as Harrison gets attention from Pat Clayton. So Edwin Harrison off to the sidelines where he continues to get attention. A couple of changes now. Tim O'Neill moves into left guard. Steve Middleton moves from left guard to right tackle. And Burris steps up. And the pass incomplete. Intended for R.J. Franklin.
Well, the good news for the Calgary Stampeders and their fans is that with the changes in the offensive line, they did do well in protection and allowing Henry Burris to throw there. He was just a little low on the throw. Let's go back to where Edwin Harrison right here, the right tackle, is injured on the short yardage play with Drew Tate. He gets rolled up on by Lazio, his own teammate.
Second and 10. Sidearm to Robbie Bryant, who puts it inside. Made Omar Morgan miss and get a first down at the Rough Rider 50. 20 yards for Robbie Bryant.
Omar Morgan, pretty aggressive, attacked that almost as if he thought he had a chance at the football, and then realized as he took the first couple of steps that now he was in trouble, as to make a nice straight tackle. There he is on the outside playing that corner. Watch how aggressively he jumps this. Sees it.
Robbie Bryant has a touchdown in each of the first 2 meetings against the Rough Riders. First and 10. Joffrey Reynolds. And Barron Simpson slowed him up, and Reynolds dropped at the 46.
I asked Joffrey Reynolds yesterday about Barron Simpson. Said played against him many, many times, and what can you tell me about the Saskatchewan middle linebacker, former BC Lion, in this matchup between Joffrey Reynolds, the starting tailback, and the middle linebacker? And he said just tremendous mutual respect between the two. There's no trash talking that goes on. They just bring their lunch bucket and go to work.
Barron on his way to his 4th 100 tackle season. Second and 6. Here comes pressure. And the ball away, and it's caught. Big second down conversion there by Kenyon Rambo.
Remember when Omar Morgan jumped aggressively and missed a tackle? Well, this time Morgan is a little more hesitant. He's sitting off this time on Rambo, and they'll throw it in front of him. Hang on to your beverage. This one's, you're going to have to make the catch here at home. Oh, Rambo did it for you.
First catch of the game for Kenyon Rambo. 13th in the league in receiving, despite playing in only this is 11th game. Big and a long out. Rambo on the far side, and there's LaRon Mitchell to make sure he doesn't get any further.
Dave Dickinson calling the play, starting to move the pocket around, different formations. They line up Rambo and Robbie Bryant to that left side. I believe Nick Lewis over there with what's called a trips formation, 3 receivers to one side of the field, and then allowed Henry Burris to roll to that side. Just trying to keep the defense off balance.
And it was Robbie Bryant, not Kenyon Rambo with the catch. It drew Tate in on second and short. He'll plunge ahead behind former Rough Rider Rob Blasio. Gets jolted back by Brent Hawkins. And so the Calgary Stampeders continue this drive that started at their own 30.
Almost as many yards in this drive alone as Henry Burris had in the entire first half.
Burris over 4,000 yards this season, the 8th time he's done that in his career. Dumps it off. Reynolds has another Calgary first down. 9th play of the drive, and they continue to march on that 15-yard pass and run to Joffrey Reynolds.
The key to this play is how Henry Burris waits another steamboat, because he's got Joffrey Reynolds coming out of the backfield. But if he goes too quickly to him, he was going there the whole time, but if he goes too quickly to him, Saskatchewan reacts quickly. He waits until the linebackers drop off of Reynolds and then gets it to him.
First down at the Rough Rider 14. Running out of time, stepping up. And Marcus Adams will pull him down at the 7.
Henry Burris right now, because of the crowd noise we showed you earlier, he's going to have to make physical signals to get his receiving core in motion. See how he moves his arm and then lifts his leg. The moment he lifts his leg, then the center, Rob Blasio, can snap at any time.
Drew Tate comes back in. The short yardage team on at 2nd and 3. And trying to plunge forward, and not much of a surge. Now, did Calgary know it was that long, or does Calgary play the gamble that Marcus Adams had come out of the game, Keith Shulligan, Luke Mullender, 3 of the starting front 4. And it's going to be 3rd down and about a yard. We may get a measurement to see how close they did get.
That was awful long, and that's a full yard. But when you're 3 yards away, that's a long way for a quarterback sneak.
Taking her starter off the field. And this is where Tate often comes in, but now 3rd and 4 yard. And now Drew Tate's got to handle the crowd. And the big boys are in now. The surge, and it was a good one. And it looks like Calgary's going to move the chains, but there is a flag on the play.
You mentioned Drew Tate trying to handle the crowd noise. The crowd noise almost caused problems in the backfield.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 74. After distance to the goal. First down.
So Shulligan was lined up offside, and it will be 1st and goal from the 2-yard line.
Crowd noise causing some timing issues. Almost a collision here between Joffrey Reynolds and Nick Lewis was coming the other way. You see Nick Lewis had to adjust his motion.
Burris back and out of the gun. Hands it off. Joffrey Reynolds, touchdown. developing an impressive Stampeder drive here to start the third quarter.
And that's how you eliminate crowd noise. You go ahead and run a pretty simple play and just try and head up straight up, see if your offensive lineman and Rob Lazo, your center, and Dimitri Sumpas, your right guard, can just go ahead and blow up a hole, and that's what they're going to do. Watch how Reynolds follows them right in behind, and O'Neill, Tim O'Neill with a nice block as well.
So an 80-yard touchdown drive. Almost 7 minutes off the clock. Rob Maber, the extra point as Reynolds and the Stamps help silence Mosaic. Well, Dave Randorf mentioned it's been a tough weekend for injuries, and now Edwin Harrison on the cart, the first-year right tackle for the Calgary Stampeders. That's going to cause some juggling on that offensive line.
Yeah, it sure did. They moved Steve Middleton to Edwin Harrison's right tackle spot and put Tim O'Neill at guard, although pretty productive down on the goal line.
Midway into the third quarter before Saskatchewan gets their hands on the football, and Wes Cates with a 3-yard run.
So they move Steve Middleton back up over to right tackle, and they go down on the goal line with 2 players basically playing out of position. One is Middleton there and one is O'Neill here, but watch the block as Tim O'Neill washes down Keith Sholigan and just opens up a gaping hole for Joffrey Reynolds.
Second and 6. And that pass out of the reach of Weston Dressler. So, well, there's a flag on the play. I was going to say a 2-and-out after the long touchdown drive by Calgary, but let's wait for the infraction.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 18. Penalties decline. Third down.
Matzo Bedsatut, who's in for the injured Rob Bagg, and
you know, Chris, in real time, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have not run an offensive play in over 30 minutes. When you consider halftime and then the start of that drive for the 80-yarder for Calgary, and so the Rider offense looked rusty.
Well, you heard John Hufnagel in his conversation with Lee Jones talk about momentum, and the momentum right back in Calgary's favor now after the first half ended with Saskatchewan momentum. Dion Murphy surrounded and brought down at the 30, a 41-yard punt. 4 on the return. Back at Mosaic and down to the sidelines again. Here's Lee Jones.
Thanks a lot, guys. Marcus Adam, defensive tackle of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, wanted to do something for his mother. Of course, she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2007, and since this is the awareness month, he wanted to wear pink in this game. He wore shoelaces that were pink in the last season when this happened, but he was told by the CFL he would not be allowed to. If he did wear something pink, he'd be taken off the field for 3 plays and wouldn't be left back on unless he took it off. He understands the CFL's decision, but says he was disappointed they would make that, guys.
So the fans helping him on a moment, a good cause. Henry Burris to work, and he's looking for Robbie Bryant, who's open around midfield. So that connection is being forged now between Burris and Bryant here in the second half.
Well, I mentioned in that first quarter, Chris, that no matter who has the ball, Saskatchewan or Calgary, if you establish the run and you get the run going, then you've got a chance. They're going to run just in behind each other, 2 receivers for Calgary on the outside, and Robbie Bryant's going to go straight up the field and just sort of angle himself to the sideline. But once you establish the run, you slow down the pass rush.
25 for Bryant. First down midfield. John Cornish in the game of running back with a throw, and it is complete down to the 40. That's Jabari Arthur.
You can see the reaction now. The Saskatchewan defense sort of coming off the ball on their defensive line, and they're looking up to see if Joffrey's there, if Joffrey Reynolds has the football. In this case, it's John Cornish in the backfield, but you get the idea. There's no pressure on Henry Burris. He's got lots of time, throwing lane. Now he can just pick and choose receivers down the field. This time it's Jabari Arthur.
9th catch of the year for Arthur. Big target at 6'4", 219. fake to Cornish, and Burris kicks off, and he gets brought down at the 37 after 3.
So what most people thought was going to be a trouble area for the Calgary Stampeders, their O-line, has been a real strength. I mean, Edwin Harrison, who's gone now to injury, he comes in for John Hufnagel, starts as a rookie and plays outstanding. Now they have to juggle, but look at their depth. Steve Middleton, who's got some playing time, playing right tackle, playing well. Tim O'Neill, who's a natural center, moves to guard. May have been good protection for Henry Burris.
Second and 5, Stamps underneath, and the completion, and Nick Lewis, that extra battle to make sure it is a first down.
Rob Lazio real slow to get up after that last throw. Nick Lewis was right on that first down markers. Lazio was trying to shake off. His injury. That's right at first down marker, and he has to break this tackle to get it, and got it just by a yard or two. You're right.
Has anybody broken more tackles this year?
I don't think so.
The leading yak yards receiver in the league. Now it's into the hands of R.J. Franklin, and he bulldozes to the 20.
It was a great call by Dave Dickinson. I truly believe that coordinators are this far advanced when they're looking at, they see Rob Lazio get up. Dickinson sees him limping back. He calls a quick pass, quick screen, hit screen to R.J. Franklin. Don't make your offensive line block. Let him settle in, shake off that injury. And he goes with the quick passing game to get 2nd and 2.
Lazio waited until 2 weeks ago to get a start, so you're going to have to drag him off. Second and 2, and they're going to throw underneath, and John Lucas makes sure there's no yards after that catch as he brings down Kenyon Rambo. Let's see where they give forward progress, enough for the first down.
That's precise route running for Calgary to get to that first down marker. It was a sure tackle by Sean Lucas, but Rambo knew if he gets to the first down marker on this crossing route, then he knows that he'll get the forward progress mark or spot.
First and 10. And Burris looks into the end zone. Incomplete. Looking for Rambo again.
Just a throw that Henry Burris wants back. Pretty good completion percentage, not big yards. Remember, just attempted 6 in the first half. He's attempted 6 in this quarter, and they're turning up the volume now.
Second and 10. Underneath. Robbie Bryant. Touchdown. Third straight game against the Roughriders. The Bryants hit pay dirt. And the Stampeders have their first lead of the game.
And Calgary Stampeders and Henry Burris has been able to handle the crowd noise. You heard how loud it was on this play. Look at the protection for Burris. Plenty of time to wait for Robbie Bryant to come from the left side all the way across the field, past all the linebackers, get to the outside edge on the opposite side, and then get the corner to get to the end zone. That takes protection, folks, and Henry Burris had it.
And a souvenir for one of the Calgary fans in attendance here. So a 13-play touchdown drive, now an 8-play touchdown drive. Both of 80 yards for the Stampeders here in this third quarter.
Well, this play takes time because Robbie Bryant was the wide receiver. And he had to get all the way across through the linebackers, through the mix, and outside the other end. So in order for him to come from here all the way to the opposite side hash mark, Henry Burris has to have time to throw that football. And here comes Robbie Bryant. See, as he weaves through McCullough. He's got to get to the middle of the field and then to that far side hash. Now he's got the edge in the corner. If there's any type of pass rush on Henry Burris on that play, there's no way Robbie Bryant can clear through there.
Omar Morgan remains down, and on that last replay, you could see a big collision between Morgan and Sean Lucas of the Roughriders that helped free up Robbie Bryant for the easy score. So the injuries mount for Ken Miller. And the lead has disappeared. Saskatchewan was up by 14 early. And the Stampeders have quietened things here at Mosaic. Neighbor adds the extra point. And so a pair of touchdowns here in this third quarter for Calgary.
The latest injury to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Omar Morgan. Take a look at him here, and we'll show you the collision. This is the touchdown play. He's trying to come across the field, and he's going to run straight into Sean Lucas, who is covering Nick Lewis on the over route. Here's another look at it. Nick Lewis coming across the field on top of another layer on Robbie Bryant. They just collide, two teammates.
Morgan, the senior man on that defense.
Trainer Ivan Gutfriend, one of the busiest Saskatchewan Roughrider staff members. Calgary's had a couple too.
The 11-year vet, defensive captain. And will that create more juggling, or will Morgan be able to return? 21 plays for Calgary in this third quarter. Saskatchewan a 2-and-out on their only possession. Under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Hugh Charles is slowed up and flags fly. Eric Fraser with the first contact downfield, the rookie safety.
Yeah, Eric Fraser got up and he was livid. He wanted a penalty flag thrown, and what he didn't realize is that there was one.
Illegal block. Saskatchewan number 22 during the return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Stu Ford.
(21 plays to 2 in the third quarter. The time of possession 11:52 for Calgary, a minute 19 for the Roughriders.
Yeah, you almost never see that, where one team in the Canadian Football League gets just 2 possessions in a quarter.
Takes the handoff on a roll. Charleston Hughes in pursuit. And Durant will run for the first down and take a hit from Brandon Browner. 16 for Darian Durant, who leads all quarterbacks in rushing.
Yeah, and he told me yesterday, it was the first thing I said, what changes do you make when you're facing this Calgary defense? When you compare it to the last time the two teams played, he said, well, I'm going to run more. He didn't even hesitate. He said, I've got to take off and run more. I've had a bit of a bad ankle, but I'm okay now, and he's going to run. So Chris Jones has had to spy him, the defensive coordinator, make sure that he contains Darian Durant.
Maybe Darian's been inspired by Ricky Ray. What a running performance last night. There you go, Justin. Not much running room there.
You know, though, good coaching is about good adjustments, especially at halftime. And John Hufnagel talked about the adjustments that they were going to have to make. They're getting better coverage in man-to-man. They've contained the running game. And that time of possession, just amazing in this quarter. They are a dominant third-quarter team, especially on defense.
They have allowed only 47 third-quarter points all season.
This is where they grab control of games.
Should be the final play of this third quarter. 3-man rush. Running out of time. And Durant tosses it away. Did he make the line of scrimmage? And is there anybody in the area? They're going to rule incomplete, no flag.
And the Stampeders are 10-2 when they take a lead into the fourth quarter. I don't think there's going to be a flag.
No, there is a flag at the bottom of the pile, and we just saw it. So they are going to rule grounding. And so we will get one more play. The
intentional grounding, Saskatchewan number 4, third down. One more play.
Well, the quarter doesn't end on a penalty, and Eddie Johnson comes out to kick the ball away.
Boy, Calgary 10-2 when they lead going into the fourth. The 2 losses, 1 against Saskatchewan. Calgary is sniffing out some kind of possible fake. I think so.
Murphy at his 41, flattened down. And Murphy tripped up. Corey Hucklock with the special teams tackle. And are they calling no yards there?
No yards. Saskatchewan number 21, 15-yard penalty. One more play.
Well, that was close. Let's take a look.
That's why you catch the football in the air if you can as a punt returner. And Dion Murphy does that. And Lucas he might have got pushed again a little bit from Ryan Thelwell, but he's well within 5 yards, that's for sure. Excuse me, Hugh Charles.
So still one more play to go in this third quarter that has been dominated by the Stampeders. Omar Morgan not back, so Willie Bird's back on the corner. Play fake, another flag, so an incompletion at the sidelines. And this one's going against Calgary. And we're going to have trouble ending the third quarter.
I was going to say, is this the third play of the end of the third quarter with time expired? I mean,
holding Calgary number 59. That penalty's declined. This is the end of the third quarter.
There we go.
It will be second down.
So they're through 45 minutes, and we'll be back for the fourth quarter. Huge third quarter for Calgary, and our third quarter numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
Huge in that time of possession category. The Calgary Stampeders had the ball in the third quarter for 12 of the 15 minutes. I mean, this is a team that ranks number 1 in time of possession in the CFL coming into this week. And boy, did they have the football that entire third quarter.
Henry Burris lulled that pass defense to sleep apparently in the first half, attempting just 6 and then going 11 for 13. And as John Hufnagel said, it's a game of momentum, and they took it away in that third quarter.
Did they ever? They've taken the wind out of the sails of the home crowd here at Mosaic Stadium. It's a lot quieter all of a sudden. And Henry Burris has been able to not only handle that crowd noise when they have turned it up, but he's got his offense rolling. Good balance.
I, for one, am surprised they didn't take the penalty. Instead, it's 2nd and 10 instead of 1st and 20. And they get a conversion to Nick Lewis all the way down to the Roughrider 30. So this offense in the second half continues to roll.
You know, interesting strategy. You're right, Chris. Like you can decide to put a team into 1st and 20, or you can decide to give them one shot at 10 yards for the first down and 2nd and 10 decline the penalty. Now, obviously, it backfires to decline when you see Calgary convert.
Of course, they get 25 there, so it'll work out the way. I was thinking field position-wise, but they went the other way, and now Burris looks for Robbie Bryant. Patrick has his 9th. And for the Roughriders, a much-needed takeaway to start the fourth quarter.
For momentum alone, the Saskatchewan Roughriders needed that pick. And James Patrick has number 9. Leads the league, and he tracks his football down in a hurry. You could see no misdirection from Henry Burris. He's looking over there to Robbie Bryant immediately. Bump and run coverage, and with Willie Bird out there in the corner, Henry Burris trying to pick on him. Well, guess who knows that as well? James Patrick. He's going over to help the young Willie Bird.
Boy, James Patrick's got some range. You could see that play developing. He closed in a hurry for number 9. His third against Calgary. The run from his end zone has Dressler. And they'll have a little breathing room up at the 17.
Tremendous range as he drops back. Patrick started just inside the hash mark on that last interception. And I'll show you his range. He's going to be back here, and he's just going to sit inside the hash mark in the middle of the field, gets himself lots of depth, and that's the key. Lots of depth. He knows that Henry Bird's going to try and pick on Willie Bird on that short side. He flies over there right to the sideline for his 9th.
Rider record is 11, set by Terry Irvin back in '84. This is the second first down of the second half for the Roughriders, and there's an incompletion to a guy still looking for his first catch of the day, Andy Fantuz.
Yeah, it really is amazing. I mean, you have to give credit to Brandon Browner here. I mean, I mentioned it in the first quarter, but 255 for Andy Fantuz the last time these two teams played. He has not made a catch today. A little bit out in front of him there.
Sets up 2nd and 10. Cates in motion, 6 receivers out. And now Wes Lysak on the safety blitz. Durant takes off. And he gets to the 25. He'll be a couple yards short.
From the get-go, Brandon Browner has locked down Andy Fantuz. He's found him wherever he is on the field. If he lines up inside, he comes inside to get him. If he lines up in the slot, he's right there jamming him on the line of scrimmage. Fantuz trying to shake him and see how physical Brandon Browner is. It'll be the deep route, crossing routes. He's tracking him. And Chris Jones is on to something defensively. This is the 3rd game in a row now. He's really juggled his secondary depending on physical matchups.
3rd and 2. Seemed to be some hesitation about the punt team coming on for the Roughriders, but Eddie Johnson is there to kick it away. Another towering punt. Murphy back at the 30. And the flag flies as Murphy's dropped at the 35, 55 yards on that Johnson boot. Welcome back to Mosaic. Some injuries to update. Let's check in with Lee Jones.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris. Both Rob Bagg and Luca Conji are on the Riders bench now in street clothes. Conji has crutches. They have both significant knee injuries, we're being told, and they have MRI scheduled for Monday. As for Omar Morgan, who went down earlier on, he's got a bit of pain in his ribs right now. He's sitting on the end of the bench. They're not sure if he's going to make it back, guys.
Willie Bird is on that corner, lying down as Joffrey Reynolds turns it upfield. Would have a first down run. Let's wait for the penalty call.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 74. That penalty's declined. First down.
He's Shulligan offside, so the Stamps have a first down up at the 35-yard line. Second time Shulligan's been called, and doesn't look like he agrees. Might be an alignment. And this will bring back memories of last week in Corey Boyd.
No question. It will, Chris. You know, you talk about what happened last week. 192 yards total. Before that last run by Joffrey Reynolds, Calgary had already rushed for 128 against this defense. It's becoming an ugly trend for the Saskatchewan defense. Now, against Toronto, they were gutted in the middle a lot more. Against Calgary here, Joffrey Reynolds and Cornish been able to bounce it, get outside to the edges.
First down up at the 46. First throws, and that's incomplete. Looking for Bryant at midfield. Another flag. This time procedure, Calgary.
Illegal procedure, illegal formation. Calgary number 59 was not on the line. That penalty's declined. Second down.
Let's go back to last week. The Toronto Argonauts, and I mentioned the 192, but the most important drive of the game for Saskatchewan was the last one, and Corey Boyd took the ball 7 straight plays and ran it right down Saskatchewan's defensive throat and basically ended the football game. Riders could not get the 2-0 they needed.
Second and 10 here. Quick hitter, Nick Lewis, first down for Calgary. And into Rough Rider territory at the Saskatchewan 50.
So I mentioned now that it gives Henry Burris more time to throw, because when he does decide to go to Nick Lewis, who's going to sit down here on Sean Lucas just in front of him, and then pick up the necessary yardage after the catch like he does so often. But it also just starts your defense guessing.
And Nick Lewis over 1,000 yards for the 7th consecutive season. Stampeders have only stopped themselves in this second half on the 1 interception. Reynolds, another huge hole. And he has another first down at the Rough Rider 38, 13 more.
Boy, and keep in mind that there's been changes on the O-line for Calgary. They've had to scramble with Edwin Harrison out at right tackle. And right now, again, it just seems like they are deciding where they want to run. And look at the gaping hole, just huge hole for Joffrey Reynolds. This run defense got it once more.
3 100-yard seasons last year. He's been stopped under 100 in his last 3 against Saskatchewan. But 84 yards so far in this one. And now John Cornish in. And another good run inside the 30 for Cornish. Barron Simpson brings him down, but it's 9 more.
Nick Lewis holds the Calgary Stampeder record for 1,000-yard seasons consecutive. Alan Pitts has 9 in his career, and that last catch put Nick Lewis over 1,000 yards. And what's amazing about that 1,002 yards is about 50% of them come after the catch.
So another impressive Calgary march. This is the 7th play of a drive that started back on the Stamp 24.
Time count violation. Calgary number 1. This is a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So they'll march it back 5. And Rob Cote hearing it on the sidelines. So a communication issue costs them 5 yards. And now 2nd and 7. And it's a first down. But a huge hit, bump and loose. And it's going to be Rough Rider football.
Willie Bird, now was that a catch and a fumble? But I know one thing, it was a heck of a hit.
Looked like Rambo had the first down, but did he have it long enough to be considered a catch?
Whoa.
Our sack tally brought to you by Purelator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check. And the sacks are 1-1 in this game. Tom Johnson, Kitwana Jones.
Winnipeg and Montreal lead the way in the race here. Saskatchewan, I think, more concerned now with their run defense than getting after quarterback Henry Burris in this game.
Well, the second time that the Stampeders have turned the ball over in scoring position here in the fourth quarter. On the fumble recovery, Durant, it opens up and he'll take off wide open. Cross midfield, and Malik Jackson tracks him down at the Calgary 49-yard line.
It opens up because the Calgary Stampeders are going to run a stunt, and they're going to take their middle linebacker out of the play here. And when they do, that's where Darian Durant is going to attack once he gets back. Robert McCune comes on a stunt. He's out of the play, and then Darian Durant sees the void in the middle and attacks it.
30-yard run for Darian Durant. That's his longest of the season. And if Malik Jackson doesn't drag him down, he might still be running because that little side of the field was open. Here's Cates. And a short gain, and now we'll go back to the Rambo fumble that will be talked about, I'm sure.
Well, it was some kind of hit by Willie Bird, and I guess a couple of questions we had was, one, did he even catch the football? Now, he does turn around, looks like he's taking a step, but that a hit knocked his helmet off. And then, does the ball roll on the white stripe here, and is it out of bounds before it's recovered by Saskatchewan? And as it turns there, it gets awfully close. Well, you can see the official right on the spot.
Stampeders had used their timeout, so they didn't have a challenge available. Second down, pressure, Durant hit, ball loose, Calgary's got it. And this is Corey Mace racing downfield. And it's going to be a Calgary touchdown. The newcomer, Corey Mace, picks up the loose football, and the Roughriders will now challenge whether or not that's a fumble or an incompletion.
I believe it was Milton Collins coming off the edge. He was the guy who put the hit on Darian Durant. Corey Mace picks it up. Collins from the backside. Look at him. He's hiding in the weeds back there, and then he's going to come off on the blitz.
Saskatchewan is challenging the ruling in the field of a fumble. The play will be reviewed.
And they're challenging whether or not Darian Durant's arm was moving forward, and therefore this would be called an incomplete pass.
And when they're never unjustly accused, they will not be silenced. So, head coach has that blue yellow flag. Challenge authorities.
Well, you be the judge. The arm comes forward, the ball is out. I think the ruling on the field's going to stand.
Wow, that is so close, Chris. I mean, right now it's in that situation that we've had many times this year where either way that was ruled, it probably isn't overturned.
Upon review, it was a fumble. Ruling in the field stands. Touchdown. Saskatchewan will be charged a timeout.
So it is a Corey Mace 60-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. And with the point after, it's going to be a Calgary 12-point lead.
Milton Collins coming off the edge, unblocked, not picked up on that backside, causes the fumble. Now Corey Mace is going to have an escort all the way to the end zone. Look at all the Calgary Stampeder jerseys as he lumbers his way down the field. Was that a gunshot? Which way to the beach? Was that what Corey Mace was saying?
Port Moody, BC native. Milt Collins, who had a touchdown here in the last visit, setting it up with that huge hit. Made for the extra point. And it's 31-19, Stampeders.
You know what it is? Jeep.
Perfect timing.
Keep the Jeep riding. Van City, San Diego, and my family. I love everybody.
Hey, Vancouver has beaches. San Diego, we know, has beaches. I think that was a which way to the beach pose in the end zone. But Milt Collins made the play.
Here's Ryan Grace Mullen. Doesn't reach the 30 on the return. Just over 6 minutes left.
Chris Jones with that blitz, and it's a full blitz, and let me show you why. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the Calgary Stampeders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in protection. That means that the Calgary Stampeders have one more Saskatchewan can block, which means it's up to Darian Durant to move away from pressure. That he has to either step to it or get the ball out of his hands. He's responsible for the extra man. Didn't see it in time. Calgary scores because of it.
If the Stamps can make this lead stand, they'll have a 4-point lead in the West and the tiebreaker. Durant slings downfield. Catch was made, but did Getzlaf get a foot down? He did. And Getzlaf's been the favorite target for Darian Durant in this game.
Yeah, right back to him. That's where they had the success early in the first quarter. A couple of big plays on that same sideline to Chris Getzlaf, who had just 5 catches in 2 games against Calgary this season, but has been the #1 target with Andy Fantus locked down by Brandon Browner, and he does keep his toe and heel, and you need both if you're going out backwards.
First down just on the Calgary side of half. Durant, and that's incomplete. The flag down. Intended for Claremont. There's Keon Raymond.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 65, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
And it's Joel Bell, and here's the holding call and the yards taken. It'll be 1st and 20.
Yeah, Saskatchewan declined. They went 2nd and 10, and Nick Lewis converted for Calgary. Now, Hufnagel takes a different approach. He's going to put him in 1st and 20, gives him a new set of downs, but obviously the 20 yards.
A reminder, when they last met at Mosaic, it was an 11-point lead for Calgary with 4.5 minutes to go. Here's one down the sideline. Getzlaf, and he's gone. Another big Saskatchewan play, and they get back in it. Chris Getzlaf.
Don't go anywhere.
65 yards, and now 8 of his 12 CFL touchdowns against the Stamps.
When these two teams play, no lead is big enough for either team. A perfect throw from Darian Durant. He's got to let Getzlaf run under it. Throw the receiver open. One-on-one coverage for Brandon Smith, and impossible for him to cover Getzlaf with a throw like that.
Exactly 200 yards of receiving for Chris Getzlaf, his finest day in the CFL. Johnson the extra point. The last time they met here was Fantus with 2:55. So don't go away. 4:36 to play.
No, you can't go away. Brandon Smith, he wants to come up and be aggressive here from the halfback spot. Getzlaf starts inside. And watch how Brandon Smith comes up, wants to be aggressive on him, but really doesn't get a big enough piece of it. If you're going to play up that tight, you got to restart the receiver. You see Getzlaf widens his release, gets out to that rail, and now goes down the rail. Look at the throw. Bang on the money.
Been a good week for the Getzlafs on TSN Wednesday night. Ryan had a 4-point night for Anaheim, and there's a 2-touchdown afternoon for Chris.
And hang on.
Well, they live and die by the big play, don't they?
Against this defense, that's what they do, yes. Calgary plays aggressively. They want to play man-to-man.
It certainly has energized the crowd. Dion Murphy. Another good return for Murphy. Mike McCullough able to trip him up, but he's up over the 40-yard line.
What's interesting with that touchdown pass from Darian Durant, he now ties, guess who? For 5th in Rider history in touchdown throws. He ties Henry Burris.
Illegal procedure. Calgary, number 66, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
30,000 fans responsible for that penalty.
Tim O'Neill. That'll only encourage him to be a little louder.
It starts to take the run game away from John Hufnagel in this offense if they get those penalties on first down.
First and 15. And ball in the dirt low of Nick Lewis.
The decision here an issue for Henry Burns on the zone read play. He's going to try and hold it in the stomach of Joffrey Reynolds, but it looked like Reynolds almost wanted to pull the ball away from him.
Yeah.
And now he's got a guy coming, has to make a quick decision here. I believe it's Brent Hawkins off the edge. No, it was Barron Simpson. And that ball in the dirt because of it.
Over the middle, he's got it open man, and the first down. Joffrey Reynolds into Rough Rider territory at the 50. A huge second down conversion.
Composure, Chris, from Henry Burris to extend the play. He's extending it with movement. He gets outside the pocket. He's going to work himself this way to allow Joffrey Reynolds to get leverage. The patience from Henry Burris makes maybe the key play of this game so far. Look at him buy some time, wait for Joffrey Reynolds to get inside leverage on Mike McCullough. He picks up the first.
2 touchdowns for Reynolds, and now a big 23-yarder to move the chains and move into Saskatchewan territory. Back to Reynolds, left side, breaks the tackle, and has a first down at the 37. As they give the 3-minute warning here. And Calgary with the football in the lead. 5-point lead, 2:43 left. And the Stampeder offense moving the football again in the second half. Now down to the Rough Rider 37, first down. Back in the hands of Reynolds with more big yards. Joffrey Reynolds, another first down.
You know, a few plays ago, we saw John Hufnagel get into the face of Rob Cote, the tight end, or excuse me, the fullback that plays tight end for the Calgary Stampeders, and he has made about 3 or 4 key blocks since then. That big one right there on Brent Hawkins seals the backside, does not allow that defensive end to collapse on Joffrey Reynolds. Rob Cote heard the message from his head coach, and he's playing a heck of a football game, especially this series.
Reynolds is at 100 yards on the day. And now John Cornish is in. And John Cornish takes the handoff. Tips it inside. And Cornish another first down. Wrestled out at the 11.
The crucial point in a running play is the point of attack, and that's where Rob Cote has been lining up. As a tight end fullback moving up on a line of scrimmage, comes in motion this time. Another kick out. This time Luke Mullender puts his body in the line to open up the gate for John Cornish to hit it up inside there. And once again, the Saskatchewan defense cannot stop the run when they absolutely have to.
54 for Cornish, 100 for Reynolds. First down at the 10. Joffrey. And this time, Barron Simpson there to bring him down after about 3 yards.
4 of the last 5 games, running backs on the opposing team have had over 100 yards. Reed did it for Winnipeg, 148. Cobb, 166. Corey Boyd, back-to-back games, 145, 131. Joffrey is over 100 yards in this game. Run defense is an issue for this football team. Calgary's taking advantage of it now.
Rough Riders need a stop here. Down by 5. Trying to force Calgary to a field goal. Here's the handoff. Reynolds is stopped. And with 98 seconds on the clock, the Calgary field goal team will have to come on.
And I think Brent Hawkins just decided that if they're going to stop the run, then he's going to have to try and do it all by himself. He's a little slow to get out because I believe he took on.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
He took on 3 or 4 Calgary Stampeders, fought through all of those blocks, worked his way up into the line of scrimmage, and there, he's the guy who puts his hat right on the running back for Calgary.
Now for the Roughriders defense, the stop here keeps them within a touchdown and a 2-point convert of a tie if Neighbors successful. As Rob Neighbor puts that through. Short field goal makes it 34-26. And now John Hufnagel puts it in the hands of his defense to come up with a final stop. Time to check our game story. It's brought to you by Mr. Lube.
Both teams talking about getting their running games involved. Both Lewis and Joffrey Reynolds over. They got Reynolds involved. Nick Lewis over 1,000 in receiving yards. Chris Getzlaff's been the #1 target because Andy Fantuz has been taken out of the game by Brandon Browner in his ability to cover in one-on-one. And remember what's on the line here. The front runners for first place in the West.
Scrimmaging at the 35, over the middle, there's the catch. Jason Claremont gets away to midfield. It's a good start. Brandon Smith drags him down, but it's 20 for Claremont.
Now, the last time these two teams played and Saskatchewan came back, lots were questioning the Calgary Stampeders and if they were going to continue to stay in that man-to-man defense they like to play because it's susceptible to one throw tying the football game up.
Here comes Collins pushing again, and he gets Darian Durant along with Sadiq Shabazz into the game for Calgary. It's a loss of 9.
And they stay with that aggressive attack style of defense. Chris Jones is saying, hey, they need a touchdown and a 2-point convert to tie it up. Look, Malik Jackson's in there. There's Milton Collins. We've seen him make the big play already in this game. He comes free. Can't get picked up by Wes Cates, and Sadiq Shabazz there as well.
Shabazz, the former Eskimo bomber, helping force a loss of 9. 2nd and 19. 3-man rush. Durant looking, throwing, intercepted. Picked off there by Keon Raymond, and that should do it. With 58 seconds left, Darian Durant, who fumbled one for a touchdown, has tossed an interception here in the final minute.
How many times, Chris, have you heard the game is won and lost on the line of scrimmage? Think about the Calgary offensive line and their running game against the Saskatchewan run defense. Think about the pressure that Darian Durant's been under in this 4th quarter. They finally get Getzlaff open deep just to the right top corner of your screen, but by that time the pressure was on Darian Durant. He didn't have time or a chance to get it that deep down the field. Close the interception.
Time for Joffrey Reynolds to run it out here. Andy Fantuz went the afternoon without a catch.
Chris Jones is on to something defensively. You think about this for a second. If you don't have to line up defensive backs in certain positions, you can just take and match them up by personnel, size-wise, abilities-wise. Brandon Browner played on Andy Fantuz all game long. He did not have a catch.
And he's having some fun with the Mosaic faithful as Reynolds takes the handoff again and has a first down. This will be the dagger.
Think about that, though, Chris, and how that could revolutionize defense. And I don't want to overstate this, but Chris Jones could have now personnel. If he's got his corners playing inside, but they could still play zone from there. If everyone knows everyone's responsibility, you can match up physically with the size you want against the receivers you want, and then play any defense you want.
Keep it clean, guys.
Alignment. I think Chris Jones is onto something here. 3rd straight game.
Especially if you got personnel like Brandon Browner.
No question. Yeah, you have to have the guys that have the ability to cover when there's no safety help.
They had lost 3 of their last 4, including an overtime loss here in Saskatchewan. Andy Fantus's quietest game of the year. Twice he had 2 catches. Today's shutout, and the Calgary Stampeders take a giant step to claiming first in the West as they win their 11th of the year and take a 4-point lead on the Roughriders. And just as important, John Hufnagel's team has the tiebreaker. So a 14-point lead for the Roughriders early is erased, and the Calgary Stampeders dominate the second half here at Mosaic. Once again, the final score, Calgary 34, Saskatchewan 26. So long from Regina. Football Night in America is next.